Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Straight Outta BS podcast. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. You guys are awesome. Please make sure just anything you do to interact with the video, that's the easiest way that you can help the podcast gain traction and get these stories out there to more people, which in turn helps with passing new legislation potentially and just getting more people educated so hopefully some children don't get sent to these places and whatnot. So thank you guys to everybody that's done that. Please continue to keep on doing that. Thanks to all my Patreon members, anybody that's donated financially. That's not the reason I do this, and it's never expected, but anything that anybody donates financially is always really appreciated. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for everybody that has done that. I want to do a moment of silence for the person still struggling with intrusive thoughts or addiction or anything like that. So on the count of three, I'm going to do a moment of silence. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for that. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest for the day. Go ahead and introduce yourself and where you went and what years.
Hi, thank you so much for having me and for bringing awareness to this very crucial topic. I am a 1995 survivor of Cross Creek in Laverkin, Utah. It's kind of crazy that here we are in 2025 and this industry is still alive and thriving and well. And I grew up in Washington, D.C.
Okay. And what led up to being sent away? Like, walk us through your childhood and what led up to being sent away.
You got it. I'm an open book, quite literally. I find there's a lot of the best healing, the best medicine that I have found for myself from this experience is to talk about it in safe spaces with safe people who understand what we went through, because I think it's a foreign concept to so many people who can't truly understand how impactful these programs are on children, how abusive they are on children, the long-term impacts, and I can talk about it. And that's really what I do want to focus on is the long-term, because I'm 44 years old and I was sent away when I was 14. And I can tell, and I love to talk to parents, tell parents, bring awareness to these long-term mental health issues. And I see it across the board, like on Facebook pages, we all kind of seem to have the same kind of issues, and we're all looking for support. I think, unfortunately, in the wrong places, because I think regular therapy is like, again, unpopular opinion, but I just don't think it's helpful at all to people that have survived things like this. This is like trauma. This is CPTSD. This requires, a really unique level of support.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Did you get transported or did you, how did you get to the program?
So I didn't. So I was 14. My dad had physically abused me most of my life. I've got 3 siblings. I was the only child that was abused physically. Okay. Looking back, I know why. I'm the oldest daughter. I'm very strong-willed, always have been. I'm also very sensitive, but I have, a very strong sense of justice and social justice, I guess I should say now. But when I was young, I kind of knew, I knew that what was going on wasn't right. I didn't understand exactly what it was, but I couldn't help not speaking out about the abuse that was going on. My mom turned a blind eye to the abuse. So it was really just kind of like me, myself, and I. My brother, sister, and my mom are completely conflict avoidant. They literally will turn a blind eye to all these things. But I was, again, the strong-willed child that just kind of take no prisoners. So I was 14. I was out with friends. My dad was very strict, conservative. And I came home a couple minutes late and he was just ready to, again, physically come for me. And I walked in the kitchen and there just happened to be a butter knife next to me. And I picked up the knife and I was like, if you come 2 steps closer to me, I'm going to do something with this knife. And it was self-protection. It was being in a family where nobody was protecting me. And this was the first time I'd ever stood my ground to my dad. You're never going to put your hands on me again. Of course, that resulted in punishment. Standing up for yourself is not something that could happen in my family. So he sent me to a psychiatric institution for a couple of weeks. Then I came home and then he said he was going to take me to a boarding school in Utah. And so I got on a plane with him and we got to Las Vegas. And then he was kind of walking behind me. And then all of a sudden there was this old man. And my dad was like, you're going to get in the van with this man. And again, I remember he was really tall, had this cowboy hat on. Again, I had no idea where we were. I grew up on the East Coast, and this guy took me and he put me in a van, and we drove to Utah in the middle of the desert. What felt like for hours and hours. He wouldn't tell me where we were going, what was going on. It was one of the more terrifying times of my life, for
Okay.
sure.
And the hospital you went to, was that a 5150 situation or did you go willingly?
I went willingly. That was like one of the first times I'd ever done that before.
Okay.
Um, my dad's a psychiatrist, so he would use his credibility as a psychiatrist to further the narrative that something was wrong with me, and because of that credibility, I started to really believe that there was something wrong with me, despite the fact that there wasn't. But he used that title um, to further the narrative, and that
Okay.
worked.
Okay. What do you remember about when you first got to the boarding school?
So it was in the middle of the night. And I remember just pulling up. It was completely pitch black driving through the desert. My dad actually had been following behind me, which I didn't know until the next day. Um, I got to this big, kind of like a old plantation mansion type of thing in the middle of nowhere. I walked to the front, and this woman greeted me and took me down a flight of stairs. They gave me a shower and they watched me shower. There were men and women watching you shower. They gave me a lice check, a strip search, and then they put me in an isolation room for the night. And I had like a bag of my stuff that I guess my mom had packed for me. But at this point, I was not given any information about where I was, what was going on. This is trafficking of kids. That's what it is.
No, 1000%. Okay. And what like how long after you got there did it take for things to fully sink in? And do you remember something like specific triggering that realization, or was it just like the time and just like a bunch of things?
I mean, honestly, I don't think it has still sunk in, to be honest with you. I think the experience as a whole never really made sense to me. And my parents were kind of all about it. Even when I came home, it was like, that was the best thing that we, had ever done for you type of thing. It was always their narrative. My experience didn't matter. My emotions didn't matter. So it just felt surreal. And I think I'm trying to think of the first moments. I guess it was like kind of just even something as simple as going to the kitchen to eat, not being able to use silverware because I was a phase one, not wearing shoes. Like, I mean, there was just all kinds of things where, again, like your rights were being violated and nobody would tell you why. I don't know. I think that was, yeah, first and foremost, just like, oh, wait, I can't use the phone. I can't call anyone. I can't have contact with the outside world, that sort of thing.
Okay. How long after you got there did they give you your first phone call? Or did they?
They didn't. Yeah, no, it was around 3 or 4 months
Okay.
until I got my first phone call.
Okay. And how long after you got there did they put you through your first seminar, or did you have
Seminars were like my, well, I'm sure they were everybody's. I don't remember exactly the timing. I was there for 11 months. I got kicked out of the first seminar pretty quickly into it. I didn't do like the part where you had to like kind of like prove your worth and like strip naked. I just like absolutely refused to do it. And so I got kicked out. Actually, I got kicked out twice. Then there was another seminar where, they had you up in the middle of the night. So you would be at the seminar all day long, and then you would have to do these big writing kind of homework.
Yeah.
And you up in the middle of the night, and I had this like great idea to use wide ruled paper instead of like college ruled paper. And then all that I was doing this, I thought it was a great idea at the time because I had to write so much. And
Yeah.
then girl the next day, told on me and sort of like, well, we used the wrong paper and we were cheating and we're bad and we got kicked out again.
Okay. And what was the first seminar there? Was it orientation or discovery?
Discovery.
Okay,
Oh God, yeah.
okay. Do you
David
remember how,
I think was his name. This like old, like white dude with glasses. I don't know. I just couldn't believe a man was running this as well in like within a all girls group where you're doing things that are like you're in very like compromising, vulnerable situations. I remember that big red flag to me.
okay. And do you remember about how many people, if you had to estimate, were in the first seminar you were in? Like, was it less than 100? Was it more than
Yeah,
100?
it was less than 100. I
Okay.
mean, I think it was less than 50, but I really don't remember. It was
Okay.
there was a good amount of people in there.
Okay. And how was your program overall? And was it like difficult for you? Did you like struggle to get points and like get levels? What did you rebel? Like, was it like 50-50? Like, how was your program like?
I was so young. I had just turned 14, so I was really, and I was like, I'd smoked pot like a couple of times. Like I was still a virgin. Like I really was like, if anything, I was just kind of becoming myself as a teenager.
Yeah.
Puberty. I was sleeping in. I was doing really normal, whatever, normal sort of relevant term, but um, teenage kind of stuff. But again, we grew up in this very strict, regimented home, full of control. So a lot of the girls didn't believe me that like, oh, your parents sent you here, like you weren't doing drugs, you weren't in a gang. Like so, a lot of in the beginning, I just was not believed, and so it took me a while to kind of like get into the groove. And these girls were like very well seasoned, and they taught me a lot. Honestly, like street smarts, things like that. I heard more stories about like kind of what was going on in their worlds than I could have imagined. Um, I was really naive and kind of, I think, paralyzed in the beginning in survival mode, like a fight or flight. I maybe talked about running away a couple times, but I didn't actually do it. One time I actually got caught and had to go on the silent treatment for a couple of weeks, where you basically can't talk like at all. I met a girl who was from DC, and she and I started talking, and we got in trouble for that. Like, God forbid you connect with anyone or anything
Yeah.
like that. So most part, I was pretty compliant. Because I just wanted to get out.
Yeah. Okay. And did you end up graduating?
No, I didn't. I
Okay.
left early. I was pretty surprised. One day I was just like in my group, and my therapist pulled me over and was like, "Yeah, yeah, you can leave." I was shocked.
Okay. And how many seminars did you make it through before you left?
I only made it through Discovery.
Okay.
I
Did
got
you
to the next one, but
focus?
I had a really hard time in seminars. I did. They were intense. I just,
Yeah.
I, my parents went through one at one point when they came to visit, but yeah, I had a tough time with the seminars.
Okay. Did you attempt focus like the one after Discovery? Like did you like but you just didn't make it through, right?
I did it.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Do you remember how far you got into focus? Do you remember if you got to the lifeboat process or not?
What was probably not? Which
It
what's
was the one where you had to like vote live like your friends to live or die, and you had to be
I
like you
did do
live, you
that.
die.
Oh my god, I did do that. That totally
Okay.
just hit. Yep, I did do that.
Okay. Um.
That
Yeah,
was horrible.
everybody remembers that process for sure.
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about that. Oh, the lifeboat. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
Ew.
That was one of the most traumatizing things about the seminar for a lot of people, not just me. But I actually got enough life votes. Like I was one of the people that was voted to live or whatever, and so they were like, "Oh, okay. Since you think you deserve to live over everybody else, like tell us why you're better than everybody else in this room." Like, and then they just gave me the microphone and they're like, "Here, you got 5 minutes. Let's go." And then I went like a good like maybe a minute, like probably less than a minute, and then I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm a piece of shit. I don't deserve anything. You're right. I deserve to die just like everybody else." And so, but yeah, I remember that process was pretty fucked up. Do
Yeah,
you?
that was. I mean, that's the fact that we were sort of like trained to come at each other. Uh, that's how you moved up, right? Like
Yeah,
was giving these like really direct feedback and hurtful. I don't know. I guess the higher you got up in the phases, but I do remember that. I really felt so. Yeah, I just want to say that I was just young. How old were you?
well, I got sent there when I was 16.
16. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
It's
like,
still
what
too
is
young.
happening there type of thing.
What was that?
No, yeah, I was just like, I think the most of the time, just kind of like, I just could, it was just surreal, like that this was just sort of a dream, like, and I was just, or a nightmare, I should say, waiting
Yeah.
to wake up.
Were you on any prescription medications before you went there?
So my dad was literally crushing up pills into my applesauce from like as long as I can remember. My sister wrote a memoir and included a whole bunch of info on Cross Creek actually. But my dad, again, as a psychiatrist, just used pills to medicate his children. So when I got to Cross Creek, I was taking medication. I couldn't tell you what it was.
Okay.
Um, but it was, turned me into a zombie, I'll tell you that much. And I definitely tried to not take it sometimes, but they would always have me like lifting up my tongue. And I've been medicated against my will, like most of my young life,
Okay.
always
So
being diagnosed with something. There's always something wrong with me, always, but again, as I've come into my own, I started to kind of realize what was going on behind that.
did your dad do the whole like doctor shopping thing with you? Like if one like until they would give you a diagnosis? Did that whole thing happen with you?
Yeah, but he would actually diagnose me
Okay.
himself and my sister. So, there was just always some kind of label or something wrong. And, we used, he was credible, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
believed him.
Okay. Um, how was the food there in your opinion?
So, I worked in the kitchen pretty often. That was like a reprieve that I found. Like, I loved
Yes.
food.
Yeah.
And I would just like go in the corner and like eat literally like, cups of chocolate, like, Cisco frosting. Um, I definitely lied about being a vegetarian because I thought the meat was so gross. Uh, so I lied a lot about being a vegetarian, which I believe I got called out on once. And, I mean, it was Cisco. It was like just add water. I mean, it was pretty gross. Like I
Yeah.
just trying to remember if I was like hungry a lot, and then I guess you got like snacks sometimes, pending like what phase you made
Yeah.
a bottle of juice or something. Um, but yeah, the food was just it was whatever. But I liked cooking in the kitchen. That as soon as I like was able to work in there, I was like all about it. So
Yeah. Did they have double portions where you were at? Like at Spring Creek, they had these things called DPs or double portions, and they were literally a PB&J after dinner. Like if you fucking like you had to fit a certain criteria. Like for me, I was super underweight, so they were like, yeah, for sure, you're like fucking sticks and bones, like twigs. So they were just like, you need extra food. Did they have anything like that there for you guys?
not that I remember.
Yeah.
That's nice though. I mean, some they can do. I mean, I remember the portions were not very big. Like in the morning,
Yeah.
it was honey nut Cheerios and like a banana, maybe something
Yeah.
like. We're like growing children, we're teens, like. So the food and not being able to have snacks when you want and do it, well, whatever. You have no control of your life at all. But yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember how many people, if you had to estimate, were at the facility you were at when you got there and then when you left? Did it vary much?
Hmm. It was like group A through maybe G or H, something like that. And there are usually around like 25 girls to a group. Um,
So probably like 200, between 200 and 300, maybe?
yeah, something like that. It wasn't like huge. We all lived in the manor and there was like a backyard, but I think that sounds about right.
Okay. And was there ever because I know that a lot of these places are run by like Mormons, was there ever any like direct like religious like where they wanted you to like read any Bible things or anything like that or anything Mormon? Or like was there any point were they trying to like convert anybody there that you saw?
Well, I mean, I think as a whole, most of the people that were there were Mormon, um, untrained, of course, majority of them untrained.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of them would carry like Bibles around. I would see like Latter day Saints Bibles,
Okay.
and they would read prayers to people. I think, religion can play a big role when it comes to vulnerable people. So I
Yeah.
think for me, even if I was hearing things like that, I'm not religious at all now, but back then it maybe brought like a sense of comfort, like, okay,
Yeah.
something to, but so that was kind of pushed on us. But I think, again, everyone was so vulnerable. It's like you just kind of took what you could get. Um, but, a lot of these people had lots of children and, they had like very unique stories. And, it was interesting to get to know them over time. Some of them were okay. A majority of them were not okay.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was an interesting mix.
Okay. And did you witness or experience any grooming or sexual abuse by any of the staff or students?
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I mean, to know that the facility was run by like so many men, that would again watch us shower, watch us go to the bathroom, like watch us clean. Like it was a lot of like flirting going around. I hands down, looking back, that's what was happening, and it was inappropriate. Like thinking about it, it was actually beyond inappropriate. Like I'm a mom now. I'm like knowing that my daughter could be around something like that. It pretty wild. I had a couple of girlfriends that were there who would talk about how the staff like would touch them inappropriately. I got pushed out of a van one time by a staff member and like cut my knee. Um, it was really, I think it's just all around you the whole time, to be totally honest. And we're so young that we don't really know what's going on. But it's inappropriate, like straight up, that I don't know. I think looking back, it should have been all females, to be totally honest. Girls are like, they're on their period, their puberty. Like if you have medical issues, things like that, like you don't want to speak to a man about it respectfully. But you're like insecure and it's just like an awkward phase. And I remember there was this like one really like cute guy that everybody really liked, and he kind of knew that he was like looked like a Ken kind of like doll, and the girls like really liked him, and it was inappropriate. It was. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, did you ever hear about any students after they were in the program, like going off with any staff members, like to watch their children or some weird shit like that?
He didn't, but that would not. I would not put it past any of them. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories of people doing that and even going to live with them. Well, they don't know any better, but they're being groomed and indoctrinated. But they don't realize that until later in life. So I'm just curious if you heard about any of that. Did you ever hear about?
Like the staff would be like, "Oh, come babysit my kids now that you're 18," type of thing.
Yep, yep, exactly, exactly.
I'd like to. I'm going to do some research on that because again, so many of us do come from these very kind of abusive backgrounds and childhoods. That I really found like that was like a theme. To have all of these kids, even just in Laverkin, all of us are blaming ourselves and we are being brainwashed to believe that we were the problem, despite the fact that we were kids, right? Like we are products of our environment. That's actually how that works. So for us to have all this blame that was placed on us, and I just, I guess I can totally see how that would happen. Like, why would you want to go back to your parents? That's terrifying, but makes sense.
Yeah, I know there's several interviews on my channel where people talk about it. Um, if you're interested, I'm not sure exactly which episodes they are, but I know that there have been several that have talked about that. There have been a couple that have actually experienced it firsthand, and then there have been a couple that have been like, "Yeah, I heard about it happening." Did you ever hear about anybody ever like disappearing and never like they were there one day and then they were just gone the next day and you didn't know what happened to them? Any of that?
Yeah, there was one girl, I can't remember her name, but somebody definitely disappeared and nobody knew where she went. Um, oh, I can't remember her name. It'll come to me.
Okay.
But there were multiple girls too. Like when they would turn 18, I mean, they would walk out. They were gone. Like they would just leave, and like you just never heard from them ever again. And I always used to think to myself, like, where are they going? Like where? Like we are in the middle of nowhere. Like who's coming to get them? So, I mean, I just don't know. But that happened quite often. Like people waiting for their 18th birthday at the stroke of midnight, and they were out.
Yeah, and I can almost guarantee that there's like perverts out there that knew about these schools that would probably wait like outside or near or just like maybe even be tipped off that hey, these girls are turning 18 soon, they're going to be walking down the road like, "Hey, do you need a ride?" Because I don't put anything past these fucking people, dude.
No, listen, that the transparency on that, like let's keep it 100. These people are small town townies, they
Yeah,
know
that's
what's
what they
going
do.
on,
Yeah.
everything that's happening. So to me, that's 100% spot on. It's like, yo, so and so is about to get out. She can be, I mean, the more and more that has come to light over the years about what's happening, like the trafficking, the kidnapping, the assaults. I mean, it's yeah, that's a big part of the story that I hope people start to uncover more. I think you're absolutely spot on.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I've actually had a few people on too that have told stories about like walking when they're 18 and having like a creepy person like pull up next to them. Hey, you need a ride? Like, like just appearing like almost out of nowhere. They were like one second there was like nobody on the road, and then just out of nowhere, just a creepy dude drove up and said, "Hey, you need a ride?" Like, sounds set up to me, but
Oh,
I could be,
how
going.
could it not be? These
Mhm.
towns are like, I mean, there's a lot of like, I mean, not whatever, but like, it seems like there's a lot of like incest and there's a lot of like inappropriate stuff going on over there, especially in Liverkin. I mean, it was very backwards. The few times that we did leave, whether I know we did leave a couple times, maybe it was like for the doctor.
Yeah.
Um, again, everybody knows everybody, so
I remember it being super weird whenever we would go into town for like doctors or whatever. They would take like two or three of us at a time, and it would just be fucking. It's literally the weirdest fucking feeling ever to be like incarcerated in a program, but like literally go to town and just like there's other people around, but nobody like you, nobody would like they probably know who these people are, but like they don't actually know what's going on in the facility. And so it's just such a surreal feeling to just like go on those those trips. At least for me, like when I had to go, like I think I went to like the doctor a few times, like when I got sick, and then I think I might. No, I didn't go to the dentist. I just went to the doctor a few times, and it was in town, and it was just so weird. You'd be in the waiting room, and there'd be just regular people, in the town, just like sitting in the waiting room, and like you couldn't say shit to them. Like there was just staff watching you
right.
the whole time, and just the fucking you go into the doctors, and it's like the doctor probably knows too, so you're too scared to say anything to them either. It's fucking just, yeah, that's one of the parts that I just remembered recently. It's like it was so fucking awkward in those situations. Like
Yeah,
you
that kind
can't
of just
say shit.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no doubt in my mind these people knew exactly what was going on, and that's more terrifying. I mean, again, they all, I mean, at some point they had a cousin or somebody that has worked in Liverkin, so clearly it was like this unspoken rule. I'm sure there's money involved. All of these people are making money, profiting off of working with Cross Creek or whoever, whatever institution. They're all making money off of each other, so it's that's these kinds of realities over time, like that's just when you realize like people are protecting kids is like not in the scope of this country. Like kids are just not protected in any way, shape, or form um at all.
No, there needs we need to have a children's bill of rights.
Absolutely.
We need a children's bill of rights. Okay, yeah, there definitely needs to be a bill of rights for children because like literally I was having a interview with somebody. It was the interview that failed and I have to redo now. But it was another kid from like the foster care system, and he was just like his whole life he lived in like the foster care system and just like in like group homes and with families and whatnot. And I was just like specifically those children don't have any fucking, they have nobody to vouch for them. They literally, even if they said something was happening in one of these homes, like when you're in foster care or when CPS takes you, they pretty much traffic you between these different homes. It's literally trafficking, but it's done by the government, so somehow it's okay. Like you're literally a child from home to home to home. Oh, that home didn't work out. Okay, you're back with us. Then we put you in this home. Oh, that didn't work out. Now you're back with us. Put you in another home. And like there's nobody to vouch for them. And even if something happened, I've heard about so many stories of just being sexually assaulted in these placements that these foster kids get put in. And it happens repeatedly. And when they go to tell somebody about it, nothing ever happens because there's money involved and they fucking just get money from all these. The more placements they do, the more money they get. So nobody ever does anything about it. So it's just like, specifically in those situations, like there needs to be like a dedicated number that the child can call. And I was even thinking like maybe in these boarding schools, like a start could be like there needs to be like if there's any abuse happening, they need to have access to a phone that they can call somebody that literally is in this for the right reasons, has been like like they've determined that they're in this for the right reasons, And fucking, I don't know how you determine that necessarily, but somehow you determine that they're in this really for the children and they're really for the rights of the children. They can call this number and be like, "Hey, I'm being abused in this placement, or I'm being abused in this boarding school." Like, and then something actually happens about it. Like, it actually gets investigated, or like, "Okay, you're being abused in that placement. We're gonna take you out of that and make sure that because like, what kind of like what kind of vetting do they do for these families before they place a child in them?
It doesn't seem like much.
Yeah,
We see
and
stories that are out there like all the time. And if we start actually listening to survivors, listening to these children who come from foster care, which nobody ever seems to do, right? I mean, their
no.
voices are really lost. And we start listening straight from the source, like, what's your experience like? I mean, the writing's on the wall. It's right in front of you, you know? I'm glad you brought up CPS. CPS is so criminal. Like, I
It's
really,
their job to take your child. It's
yeah, like
literally their
they make
job.
my I try to like never call CPS. My chance, please. Like I am definitely a power to the people kind of girl. Like I don't believe in involving uh and the law, the government in any sort of situations where it pertains to your children or even like your friends. I don't like I believe in community activation. Like, yo, let's get together, conflict resolution. Let's figure this out as a community. But unfortunately we're very far kind of from that. But I just think as you said, we need to find the right people, and I haven't been able to find that either. I've been going through a divorce. That's a side note, but I have kids, so they're involved, and so a lot of these players come into conversations, and these people are not to be trusted. We need to be listening to these kids and helping them and standing up for them and speaking for them, being advocates for them. If you have somebody, if you know someone, again, just getting involved, using your voice to help these kids, standing up for them.
Yeah, no, completely. And I also think that um fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, it's really important for that. They need to have somebody that they can call and that will vouch for them. Just like if you were gonna go to jail, right? If you're being charged with a crime, you get your phone call, right? They should get that one phone call if they're being abused or fucking, in either in a placement or in a boarding school. Because I think that even in the boarding school situation, that would probably alleviate, not all, definitely not all, but it would alleviate some of the problems that are going on in these places if they had like it. And this can't be a phone where they can hang it up. Okay, this is a phone where you go in there and maybe it has a door on it, like with a lock on it. You can lock yourself in and fucking be on the phone, so they know nobody's gonna fuck with it, and tell people, and so you can actually speak freely too, and not be afraid to not say certain things, and
Yeah,
actually see really what's going on. Because I've interviewed a lot of people now, and it's just like I hear time and time again, it's like if we were to just listen to the children, like you were saying, like oh yeah, that was the point I was gonna make, is that I don't believe that children would make up, "Hey, he's raping me. He stuck his penis inside me." Like, what the fuck? Like, a child's not going to make that up. They don't
oh,
have that kind of vocabulary in the
say
first.
thank you. I know.
Like, they're not gonna make like, sure, make believe I'm a fairy in a castle. Ooh, like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's all fine and dandy. They can make up stuff that way, but not, he came into my room and did this shit to me at this time. He fucking smelled like this, like he was wearing this, like,
Yeah.
like, come the fuck on, man. Like, the child's not gonna make that up, okay? And they're
No.
not gonna make up
No.
like being hit by their parents either, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't believed, so I can relate to that as well. I mean, I had a big group of, competent adults around me. And like, again, as I've gotten older, I realize now that has more to do with them than it does me. But all that does to a child is they're going to grow up and they're not going to learn how to trust themselves. They have no idea how to trust themselves because they've been invalidated their whole life. Nobody's ever believed them. I mean, it's crazy to me. I am all about advocating for children, standing up for children. As a society, like turning a blind eye to these things. Like I could never. I just think we owe them more. These kids don't ask to be born. None of us ask to be born, and it's the least that we can do. But these systems, yeah, I mean, to be a troubled teen from foster care, like I don't know, it's so messed up.
Like, I can't even imagine, like, my experience was bad, like, and I don't think it's ever good to like compare I know there's a lot of people, not a lot, but there's a few people that like to compare experiences. Like, oh, you didn't even really go through it. But I feel like everybody really went through it in their own unique way. But I can't even imagine being in foster care from like the time you were born pretty much, and just having like crack addicted parents being taken from them, put into foster care, and then being, put into all these different placements, group homes and whatnot, and then being sent to a fucking T.T.I school on top of it. Like I can't even, like, my heart really goes out to everybody that went through these places, but especially those people. Like they really didn't have a chance. Like
No, I mean,
they were never given a chance to thrive.
the trauma from that alone, and then what, you turn 18, and then it's just like, I mean, how you've never been loved before, nobody's ever taken care of you, abandonment issues, people just telling you what a piece of shit you are. I mean, honestly, those kids deserve, and I would love to know how many, not love, but I would love to understand how many kids make it. What percentage of those kids become homeless? Like, I really like those kinds of statistics. I'm sure frightening.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. My bad for getting off on a little side tangent there.
No, it actually does all this does connect. It's not, it goes beyond
Yeah.
just the troubled teen industry. Like I said, I just recently got a divorce and I've been in family court. And I can't tell you how many people I've met when these parents are getting divorced. They have custody issues with the
Yep.
children. One parent gets full custody of the child. One of them sends the kids to troubled teen industry. This is a
Yep.
very consistent pattern. So I think the family court systems are also part of the troubled teen industry. I cannot tell you how many moms I've met, specifically moms. I don't know why only moms, but where the dads have like sent their kids to troubled teen institutions against the mom's will, because they have full custody. Oh, there's something wrong with you, kids, so we're going to send you away. It's really I don't know. These are red flags to me. Like the abusive parents that are doing these kinds of things. I mean, with intention, and it's crazy. This really does connect in bigger ways than like I ever could have imagined. When I was in divorce and I started I was like, wait, you guys know about troubled teen industry? Like family court does this? Like what? I'm like, that's true.
Yeah.
It's
And I could even imagine like somebody like trying to persuade, like when they're going through a divorce and being like, you're trying to resolve your marriage, right? You want to fix things, right? Get the child out of the picture. It'd be a lot easier to just focus on you and her, right?
mm-hmm.
The kid's causing problems, get rid of them,
Yep. These evil people, they prey on vulnerable. So like it's just when people are going through these horrible times, it's you become prey if you don't have any awareness. So
No, for sure, for sure. Okay. Did you ever get like what was the highest level that you got to when you were there?
4. So it was like 1 through
Okay.
6.
Okay, so you were junior staff then. You
I was,
became
and I
okay.
got my ass chewed out when I left. Like these girls were not happy I was going home. So like I don't know what you did at your program, but like when I found out I was leaving, I had to go around in a circle. Like every girl got to give me feedback, and almost every single person was like, "You're gonna fail. You're not ready to go home." I mean, it was like, I mean, in the back of my mind, I didn't care. I was like, I was going home. But like every single person just like chewed into me like, yo, you're gonna fuck up, you're gonna fail, you're not gonna make it, you're gonna be back here. No words of encouragement. I mean, it was, and to think that these are all like females, like it wasn't about female empowerment, it wasn't about uh, community, it was really just about shitting on each other, making one another feel bad about there was no beating anybody up. It's so messed up, it's so crazy. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we were taught to tear each
Or,
other tear each other down.
yeah, just I mean constantly tearing each other down.
Yeah.
um
Did
and,
you
and you were rewarded for that, as you got, to be like a phase 6 girl. I mean, your job was quite literally to like rat people out. Like that's how you moved up in the ranks. It was
Yeah.
so much competition. Oh gosh, so crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just in case it does cut off again, just join the call again, okay? And then I'm just gonna put all of these together at the end. And then I think I'm just gonna honestly just buy the Zoom now and just fucking give them their money, I guess.
How much is it
Like
hard?
how much is it? I think it's like
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Not sure how much it is, but I think I need to do something because the Skype it's not gonna work for me to do interviews and not have it recorded, you know? So I got to figure out something that works. And it did load the videos in, so this should be working. I just wanted to kind of coach you. If it does happen again, just join the
Okay.
yeah. So did you have it like did you like when you got in the upper levels, did you feel like pressure to consequence other people? Probably yes, because you were just saying that everybody was tearing each other down. And did you have difficulty calling people on stuff? Did you like for me, for example, with me, when I got by the time I got to upper levels, I had already been there a year. And the only reason I started working my program because I was rebelling for the first year because I was literally like that's how I got my essentially that's how I got my way at home. Like I would literally act out until I got like, oh, you fucking want to ground me or whatever. I'm gonna act out. Well, not with the grounding, but like, oh, you want to fucking like, I want something, so I'm gonna act out until I get it type thing. Or if I'm
Yep.
in trouble, I'm gonna act out and fucking make them not have me in trouble, whatever. So that's how I got my way at home. And so I was like, I'm just gonna act out till they fucking kick me out of here. I'd gotten kicked out of like summer camps a lot of the times because I have ADHD and fucking everybody thought I was weird. I always had energy, so I'd always just make crazy noises and like scare everybody off, and then they'd be like, get him out of here. So essentially I tried that tactic and I was trying it for a year, and then so I was getting like removed every fucking day. I was going to intervention. I pretty much lived in between study hall and intervention for my first year. And so one day they throw me into intervention and they're like, "Oh, well, you can keep on acting up, but we're going to send you to Tranquility Bay, Jamaica, and with your parents already signed their rights away, so we don't even need to tell them we're sending you there until you've actually arrived there." And so I was like, "Okay, well, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm not, I'm not doing that." Because they were like, they don't have child protection laws over there. They'll just break your arm if you want to act like you're acting here. Like they'll just break your arm.
God.
And so I was just like, okay. So I started working my program, and so I go and by then I had been on the lower levels so long, so I knew what it was like to feel hopeless and like get points and like fall back down to level zero and just like try so fucking hard because I tried so many like there was sometimes in between those times when I was rebelling that I actually was really trying, like I really wanted to like try, and then I'd try for a couple days and I'd fucking get like a cat 3 or cat 4, and I'd say fuck it, I'm just gonna flip out now anyways because I'm already losing all my points, so what the fuck's the point of even fucking doing anything you say now? I'm just gonna flip out, fuck you, I'm not self-correcting shit. Like essentially. So I knew what it was like to be homeless. And sorry I'm being long-winded about this, but
No. Oh,
um
hearing stuff.
and fucking knew what it was like and all that stuff. So by the time I got into upper levels, I was like more of the kind of person that would like coach people more so. Like I'd call you out on rules to show up for the staff so it would look like I was doing something.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, when it came, because I would wait till the end of the day to write down consequences or actually like write down consequences and how people do the self-correction forms and stuff. That happened at the end of the day usually. So at the end of the day, anybody that I had like given like a cat 2 or cat 3 or cat 1 to, I would call them over more times just cat twos and cat ones. Cat three I would usually give to them because especially if it was a blatant rule violation, like multiple infractions. But I would literally call them over and coach them and be like, "Hey, yo, you know what you did, right?" And all this. And I was just essentially I would tell them like, "I don't want to be like I don't want to fuck you over in your program." Essentially, like, so like just tell me like what you're gonna do differently to like not do it next time, and I won't even put it on your thing. Like, so I would more so coach people but I would show up for the staff because I knew that I had to do that, and I'd been in there long enough to learn the ropes and learn what I had to do. And that's kind of why I got out of there in like less than a year after I started working my program, is because I knew the game. The jig was up. Like I knew exactly what the fuck to do. So when they told me to fucking jump, I just jumped. And I was just like, I'll just be a robot. But I'm not gonna fucking be an asshole to people. And I felt like I could do it both ways. So how was it for you with consequenting people? Did you struggle with that or?
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I was a certified people pleaser. I had to follow the rules in my house, despite the fact that I was constantly trying to break them. There'd be severe consequences for it. So that was like all I ever knew. Um, but that is like, you made a really good point that like when you're in these programs, you have to be a certain way, right?
Yeah.
fight your personality. And like, I really, another thing, like really, just pains me when children are criticized for being who they are, because again, like not every student can sit in a desk for 8 hours all day long reading a module, right? Like not every, we're all so unique and different and experience things differently. So this idea that like we're all just supposed to be like the same way, like, is just abusive to me in itself. um but so I applaud you for the resistance, and it wasn't your fault. Like I will say that to like everybody. Like this is especially if you come from an environment where you were used to handling things a certain kind of way to get your way, right? Like
Yeah.
their experiences that again shape us into who we are. So to go into these programs with all these grown adults, professionals, whatever, who are completely contradicting everything, and you have to start living this very unauthentic, fake, robotic type life.
Yeah.
um, I was so used to that I just sort of did what I was told, and I was not good at using my voice and telling people what to do. I really, I was a new phase for, like, it took me a while. It's not that I wasn't working the program, but I hadn't learned how to play the game. I really didn't. Like, um, people just like were constantly not believing me. I mean, it was just like, I just kind of did whatever I had to do to get by. And that's what I mean. I got out early. So I was lucky, but the Space Six girls, like they did scare me, but I don't think hopefully I would have been like you, where it's like, okay, I'm doing what I have to do for the staff, but I'm also like having these like teaching moments with people, like, keeping it 100. But to be honest with you, I don't know if it's just like a girl thing, but the girls were like very, very catty about it. It was like, I didn't meet people like you at all who were like, they kind of enjoyed it. Like it was like Gossip Girl, like Mean Girls, like that movie, like
Yeah.
and the girls at higher levels got a lot of attention for being mean. So it's and violating people. So
Yeah.
it
I feel like it went that way, or it was like one or the other. It was either they fully leaned into it and just
was,
became like assholes, just completely like, whether it was for their self-preservation or whether it was because they got off on it or both, or they went off to kind of, fuck that, I'm just gonna play the game type thing. But it's a very delicate line to walk. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you gonna say?
what?
I was saying, what were you gonna say? Continuing. Because I accidentally cut you off. So
Oh
what
no,
were you?
I done. No, I was done.
Okay.
I really I just didn't do much of that. Is what I remembered from phase 4. I just wasn't there yet. Like
Okay.
I was not that I was shy, but I wasn't used to like bossing people around and ratting people out. Like I just wasn't like I wasn't perfect by any means. I wasn't like a goody two shoe. It was just wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't like in my playbook to just be like constantly like yo blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Did you
But
feel pressured to do that? Did you feel like you that was what you had to do or what was expected of you is to call people out?
yeah, I really that's what I mean. I think for the most part, the girls like in my group were kind of just like ripping on me all the time. I don't really think uh, they believed me. Well, they didn't believe me in terms of why I was there, and so I started to like lie about why I was there or exaggerate things in my groups and my sessions and things like that. But
Okay.
yeah,
And did you get any schooling done there? And then if so, did the credits transfer?
yeah, school was very challenging for me, like working out of these modules. Um, Especially with math was really hard. Like when I think I was doing geometry. So doing it out of like this module where I'm just supposed to like learn from this notebook was very challenging for me. My grades were not great. Um, I mean, that education system was interesting. I don't know if that's what you guys had too, but it was just like where you pulled out a binder every day and you would just learn that subject.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was self-taught. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that again, this idea that all these children, your brains all have to work a certain kind of way, and you all have to learn this way. And if I just and whatever money our parents were paying back then, I mean, I don't even know. In the 95, I feel like it was like 250 a day or something like that. I don't know, but get like that kind of education or lack of education, I struggled. So a lot of times I'd be like, she's not doing well in school, which never looked great for me. But I remember my teacher, she was fine and she would try to help me, but she was just this like really soft spoken, like Mormon mom, who was just, there to get a paycheck. So It was Browning Academy. I mean, they have these fancy names. I mean, it's so fake. Browning Academy. Um, and they did transfer. They did. Yeah, they
Okay.
did.
And was there anybody that tried to run when you were there?
Yeah.
Okay, what did they tell people to discourage them from running?
What did they tell people? Well, they told people like the town, like we all know what's going on. We all communicate with each other. Like you're not going anywhere. Like people will find you. You're going to get punished. We're going to throw you in isolation. Um, but there were a lot of warnings about that. Even talking about it got you in trouble. Like I am pretty sure I got silent treatment for a few weeks, just like talking about leaving with my friend um, but yeah,
Okay.
they did. Yeah,
Did you spend any time in intervention or solitary?
I did. In the
Okay.
beginning, I was there. I was in solitary for I think for 3 days, and then one day I did get in trouble. Uh, what did I do? I got in trouble for something, and they put me in isolation. That shit was scary.
Okay. Do you remember how long you were in there?
Well, the first like when I first got there, like I guess they didn't have a bed available or something like that, so I think I had to stay in there like an extra day. Um, but I think 3 days in the beginning.
Okay. And did they feed you in there?
I feel like they didn't. I actually think I was able to go up for meals, which is strange.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a blur to me, but I definitely slept in there and I was in there a lot. It was just like a mattress in my bag.
Okay.
Um,
And what happened when you went home? Or how did you get home? How did that whole process happen? Like how did you get back home?
I I remember the meeting and they're like, your parents are coming to get you. My dad got me. Um, he so they actually didn't so you had to make these like home contracts, right? Where which I didn't agree with at all, but it basically outlined how you're going to behave when you get home, what kind of music you can listen to, what kind of friends you can hang out with.
Life
Um,
contract.
yeah, the home
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was to me like one of the more traumatizing parts because I was 15 when I got out, so I had 3 years of being in like constant CPTSD. If some person's going to come kidnap me or they're gonna, I was like, I lived in fear for many years of my life because of that contract, and it was thrown in my face often. But my parents didn't send me home; they actually sent me to another boarding school in Pennsylvania. I'm from Washington D.C., so they never let me come home. I went directly from Cross Creek to this all girls boarding school in Pennsylvania, which I was pretty pissed off about. But they just didn't want me to come home immediately. So they just put it was a regular boarding school. It wasn't like Cross Creek. It was boarding school, but it was away from home. Um, and I couldn't tell you why they did that. My parents made a lot of interesting decisions, but I came home pretty often. Um, but and then honestly, I think maybe a couple months after I got home, I had sex with an old boyfriend. The one boy I was allowed to see. My dad let me see one boy, and I got pregnant almost immediately. That was really fun. I did not have the baby, but I got pregnant very quickly. I lost my virginity to I thought I was going to get sent away again, and I didn't. Thank God. But I think it's kind of funny. My dad let me hang out with one person, one man, and I didn't even like this guy really. I think it was just kind of like something rebellious. I'm not really sure. I learned a lot in Cross Creek. I'll tell you that much. Um, so anyway, beyond that, I was pretty good.
Okay.
But I was that happened.
Okay. I'm going to stop the recording and then start it one more time, and then we will finish out the interview.
So yeah, if we see a policeman, beating somebody up over there, people are just walking by, nobody's helping, nobody's doing anything, nobody's recording. Um, yeah, I just silence is violence. See something, say something. Again, this could be your friend, it could be your cousin, it could be your babysitter. Like these things, I just wish people would kind of wake up from this society that is, in my opinion, by design, meant to keep us distracted. So therefore, we aren't building community and connecting with one another. We're living in a very isolated world. And I don't believe that we were ever supposed to be living so isolated. That I believe back in the day, right? Tribal days, like you need community. It's essential for thriving.
Yeah.
So,
And I feel like we're getting farther and farther away with that, especially with AI. because AI is like
Terrifying.
you don't even need like people don't even want to be in there's a lot of people that don't even want to be in reality. They'll just put on their VR headset and like say fuck that. Reality sucks, dude. Like
Yeah,
literally
for
like
real.
why would I not
Yeah,
want to live in the in a magic world and like be chasing like dragons and shit with the sword and a shield, you know? Like
right. Oh, this is like they're targeting, like they're targeting certain people, these conflict avoidant types, like living in isolation. It's like, I don't know. It's scary, but where we're going. I agree. And it's not, so all these people, everyone's like freaking out and dysregulated. And it's like, yeah, for a reason, because you're not supposed to be living all by yourself, dealing with life's issues all by yourself. You should be able to have healthy conversations with people in your life. Conflict resolution. It's like, what? What's that? I don't know how people do it. Like they live with so much like unresolved shit.
Yeah, no, they really do. Did you ever struggle with any drug addiction or alcohol or anything?
So I did not. My sister did. My sister is an addict, and she again wrote this memoir called How to Murder Your Life. And so she did get that addictive gene. I mean, I think we all are addicted to things in one way, shape, or form. Like
Yeah.
addiction comes in a lot of different ways, right? I don't have an addictive personality, but I've always been. I do like weed, but
Yeah.
weed's legal where I live, so you know that's always been sort of like medicinal to me. But other than that, that's really all I've ever tapped into. That's what I enjoy it. Weed.
Okay. And do you want to like give yourself a little plug for like your TikTok? You said you speak out on your story. Like, do you want to tell people like how they can reach you on TikTok or watch your videos about?
Sure, if you want. Yeah, I mean, I really I started TikTok during the pandemic in 2020, June 2020, when I separated from my ex, and I lost custody of my kids. He filed a TRO on me. I didn't know my rights. I didn't understand the law. I didn't realize that people could just file a TRO and your kids can get taken away just like that. That can happen to anybody. Don't get it twisted. So in those 19 days, I started to reach out to friends and family for support. And it was almost 360 to what happened in Cross Creek, right? All of a sudden, all these people that don't believe in my life, that love me and obsessed with me,
Yeah.
don't believe what's going on in my marriage, don't believe the story. So it was like a repeat cycle of what happened. I was in a crisis, and like all the people around me who claimed to love me and be there for me would not help me. It was unless it was in a controlled sort of environment. To this day, my dad is best friends with my ex. Um, so anyway, long story short is because I was all alone and isolated and I did not have anybody in my corner, TikTok was like really getting kind of popular. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to go on this live. And I went on live and started talking and just sharing my story with a bunch of strangers. I literally cried on the internet every morning, no shame. Again, I didn't know anybody, but I built and I wound up building like a following from it. I've had a couple different accounts that have been banned, but now my new current account is at MEM and the holograms, like Gem and the holograms. I don't know, I'm an 80s kid. So it's at M and the holograms. And I really just, I use it as for my mental health. I use it to bring awareness to situations that I've had in my life, whether it be troubled teen, family court. Uh, I also got separated when George Floyd was murdered. Moved to New York City, and it was the first time I'd ever been involved in protesting and police brutality. So I've been outside, for Black Lives Matter, Palestine, trans lives. I mean, you name it, we're outside. And I love doing social justice and advocacy work, and I just believe that it is all connected. And we're in this together, and I don't know, I'll never stop speaking out. So I'm all about it. I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost a lot of family from it. People don't like it, but they don't have to watch. They still do, but they don't have to. I think we all control our own life, right? So if something is bothering you or you don't like it, I recommend you, swipe, keep it pushing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm on there. And if anybody ever, needs support or wants to get their story out, like I'm all about sharing other people's stories, similar to like what you do, to bring awareness. This doesn't happen to the next kid, If you can save
Yeah.
one person's life, or get into one person's brain, like my God, that's pretty amazing. So I
Yeah,
admire what you do as well. It's hard. It's really hard work. It's
yeah.
painful.
No,
Validating too. I get a lot, I also get, I like talking about it. Like I'm not ashamed.
yeah.
Real
No,
life.
go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just saying, you know, it's real life, and it's, we all make mistakes, and we screw up, but the best thing we can do is, you know, do better, be better, and
Yeah.
learn from them.
And I'll link the a link to your TED Talk in the description of this video.
Yeah.
Um, in your opinion, the remaining TTI schools and religious schools and all of these kind of schools, that includes like, probably like wilderness, religious, TTI, all that. Is it your opinion that they need to be fully regulated, or is it your opinion that they all need to be just be shut down?
Burn it down.
Okay.
Burn it down. Burn them all down. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Shut them down, burn them down. We're done. There's no regulations. They all need to go. I don't believe in these kinds of treatments for children. I think that anybody that thinks that punishing children, raging at children, I just never in my life. This is about having compassion and empathy and understanding. Let's like really understand why these kids are acting out the way they are. Like, what's the root of the fucking problem? Let's get to it. Let's
Yep.
help them. Let's give these kids regulation skills. DBT is like something I recommend for anybody in terms of therapy. I just think having DBT skills is so incredibly helpful to just regulate your emotions and like give these kids like teaching tools so they can better themselves in the future. This is not about punishing them, shaming them. That I can speak to forever, but yeah, burn it down. That's my.
Okay. And is there anything else you want people to know about your or first of all, what is DBT for people that don't know?
Oh, DBT. Sorry, it's dialectical behavioral therapy. So I'm
Okay.
not a big talk therapy person at all, especially if you come from the troubled teen industry. I don't think that talking about your issues with somebody for like an hour is going to help, because I think again, this trauma is living in your body, right? The Body Keeps Score is a great book.
Yep.
Read
Yeah, it
that.
is.
And I think, basically if you're doing talk therapy and then you leave, you're just sort of like holding all of that stuff that you just talked about. And it's like, well, what do you do with it? So DBT was the first therapy I found like on my own. And it's basically skill sets. So like it could be, to calm your nervous system, you hold something really, really cold. Like I keep oranges in my freezer. And when I'm feeling dysregulated, I can hold that orange, and the cold temperature actually brings your nervous system down.
Yeah.
So that's just like one of many, many, many. You can look it up. And so it gives you skills like that you can keep like, just in your back pocket. I teach these to my own kids. Again, how to regulate their emotions. And I think it's incredible. I've done multiple like women's support groups. And I just recommend it so much. It's just really cool. It's not traditional therapy. It's just, again, it's giving you tools to help yourself when you're in these situations where, your emotions are high.
Okay.
Really cool.
And have you talked to your kids about what happened to you? Like, how old are your kids?
7 and 9.
Okay. So probably not yet, but are you gonna tell them?
Oh yeah. I'm going to tell them everything. It's also like in this book that my sister wrote too, but even despite that, I believe that kids are so smart, and we underestimate kids even from a young age. I'm seeing it now with my children. Maybe they don't understand all the nitty gritty, right? But like kids understand body language, eye contact, like they get it. So we really underestimate them, and I think kids deserve to know the truth for their age level, of course. But there's just they're going to grow up into the world, and the world is what it is. So painting it like it's picture perfect and sunshine and rainbows like to me a real disservice to kids, because then they're going to grow up and the real world is going to slap them in the face. So I believe in being honest about who we are and things that we've gone through. I don't know, like what is there to hide? Like we're human, and again we're built to make mistakes. So I'm all about like kind of that honesty, being honest.
Okay. And besides DBT, was there anything specifically that has helped you? Or was that the main?
Vulnerability, being vulnerable with safe people. When you find safe people to talk to, at least for me, like my whole life I was around unsafe people emotionally. And once you find those people, like even this, I don't know, I just find this so like, I don't know, liberating because it's just like there's no judgments, there's no, shame. It's just sort of like you can talk. I find this to be like the best medicine. I do. The power, I just find a lot of freedom in being vulnerable.
Okay. And is there anything else you want people to know about your experience or anything that you might tell a parent thinking about sending their kid to a place like this?
No, but you can call me anytime. I don't know, reach out to anyone, that's been through it so we can share, our experience. And this is just not the way. But I know these programs are designed with these marketing schemes, to trick parents. But I hope that we can just keep building awareness. This doesn't happen, just doesn't continue because the long-term effects are really, really frightening.
Yeah,
So
I completely agree. Thank you so much for coming on the
thank you
show.
so much.
Yeah, I want to extend an invitation. If anything comes up, usually it happens actually frequently. If you want to do a part two, you're more than welcome to come on
Mm-hmm.
the show. And you have my number, so we should definitely keep in touch. And if you guys have
Definitely.
watched the video so far, please make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're not already, hit the little notification bell so it notifies you of all the episodes, and share the video, and then comment down below. It not only helps the algorithm, but I'd love to meet you. And if you want to share your story, whether it be you being in foster care, going through trauma growing up, being sexually abused, dealing with addiction, if you're in active addiction, I don't care if you're even in active addiction. We can talk about possible solutions or just talk about where you're at or whatever you need. I'm a recovered addict, so I know how it is. And the only thing I ask with that is if you are still using drugs, just don't come on the podcast like fucked up, like leaning and nodding off. That's the only thing I ask. But yeah, if you've had any sort of trauma, any boarding schools, the platform is always open to you. I'm multifaceted now, so I don't just focus on troubled teen, but that's the main emphasis of this channel. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye, y'all.